welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner. And joining me today is MC Keegan-Ayer, who is the Vice President of the Frederick County Council. Welcome, MC.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, it's nice to work with you and to talk to you. I wanted to really give you an opportunity to come on to the program to talk about yourself, what's happening in your district, what's going on with the County Council. So what would you like to share with our listeners about what's happening?
Well, what can I share about myself that they don't already know, since I've been around for quite a while, not just age-wise, but around in politics for quite a while. We've been doing this county government thing, the charter government, for almost 2 years now. Mm-hmm. I'm the Vice President of the Council, and that means I help put together agendas, help schedule the workshops, help schedule what our legislative sessions are going to be, what topics are going to be included, who's going to be invited to speak, what kind of staff we're going to need, how much time they're going to need. I mean, it's down to the nitty-gritty and how things are going to operate. As far as my district, so far things are doing okay. We've lost a huge component of the revitalization of the Golden Mile when Walmart pulled out. And like Walmart or not, they were going to be a huge part of that revitalization effort on the west side of town. So that has been a bit of a stumbling block, but all the groups are joining together and going back to the drawing board to see what they can come up with for another kind of anchor on that end of town.
Now, not everybody knows what your district is. So can you tell people where your district is geographically in the county?
The 3rd district in charter government is everything in Frederick City west of Market Street, pretty much, and with a few exceptions. But basically, take Market Street, go west, all the way to the edge of town, and then a little bit of the county just outside of that. So I have Whittier and in the city, but I also have Clover Hill, 1, 2, and 3. I have Eastview, all the areas along Camp Lane, but I don't go up as far as, say, Yellow Springs Extended or Rocky Springs or places like that.
Okay. All right. So that gives people a general idea. Sometimes people are more familiar with the commissioners who were elected at large, and they still don't really know where all the districts are. And I think you're viewed in your leadership role a lot with the county council. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of administrative work that you do in partnership with the council president, Bud Otis. And I always view you as someone who keeps things moving and helps us to get things accomplished. So
we try. Bud and I work pretty much as a team. And then we try and coordinate our efforts with your staff. We meet with you once a week to go over our legislation that's coming up. Again, what kind of staffing we may need for our workshops or our hearings. We talk about other things coming up as far as your administrative side is concerned, as far as we're, on our legislative stuff. So, I think pretty much we're trying to make things as open and transparent as possible and to include the public on a regular basis so that they have a say in what we're doing as well.
Well, I've known you for a long time, and as many people probably know that, like we both have a background in being advocates on education issues and school overcrowding specifically. And I think one of the things we've worked on together that's worked out very well, along with others that we worked with, was this shared solution to advance school construction to make sure that we could build Sugarloaf Elementary in Urbana, which is not in your district, and Butterfly Ridge, which is in your district.
Yes.
And I think that was a creative and collaborative process that really serves the constituents of your district and the constituents of the county very well.
Yeah, that was one of those very long processes, but at the end of the day, we came up with I think a really creative strategic solution for finding a way to fund both of those schools in the same time frame. So that both communities got some relief from the overcrowding in the schools. And it was not easy, but we were able to pull that off. So I appreciate your help on that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your help on that. And I know that schools and education are going to continue to be a primary focus. And it's really interesting that the majority of the school construction projects currently under construction, Frederick High School,
in my
and
district.
in the future are in your district, with Frederick High School Butterfly Ridge, a Waverly's in the queue, and a new Rock Creek Elementary School. So a lot happening in terms of education issues in your community.
Yep.
And so I think that's it's really great to have an education partner there for those projects.
Those projects are very important, not only to the community on the western side of Frederick, but Rock Creek serves our special needs students from across the county. So that's important to everyone in Frederick County.
Well, I think it's important that even though we have 5 council members from districts, you do get to vote on everything. You still have to have that broad perspective. Certainly you want to serve your constituents in your district, but you do that in the context of all the larger issues that are out there, because the decisions we make affect everybody. And so, you know, the budget's been a very important accomplishment. The ethics education's been an important accomplishment. And one of the other things that all the council members do is serve as liaisons to boards and commissions, and are active on other community boards and out there on community issues. So do you want to talk about your involvement with boards and commissions?
Sure. I sit on a variety of boards and commissions. I sit on the Commission on Aging. I sit on the Homeless Coalition. I sit on the Frederick Community Action Agency board. I sit on WashCog. I sit on the MACO. We had one meeting last week where we were finishing off last year's stuff and getting ourselves geared up for the upcoming session in Annapolis. And you know, that takes a lot of time in addition to everything that I'm doing up here in Frederick. So yes,
well, it certainly does. So, and I think it's important to let people know with the change to charter government, you know, Frederick County's always had one vote at MACO on the legislative committee, and now we recently split that vote so that the county executive shares a vote along with the county council. So that's one way that we're working together and sharing that responsibility.
Collaborative effort. It makes all the difference in the world. Oh, and I forgot to mention my most important commission, which is Livable Frederick.
All right. So how's that going?
Well, Livable Frederick has been a long process. And it's going to continue for another year. So it's been going on for almost a year now, and it'll go for another year. It has been slow, but we are making huge progress. They were tasked with coming up with a vision for what the community wants Frederick County to look like in the next 25 to 40 years, and that is not easy to do. So it started out with a huge public survey that was done, and that ran for several months. It started in the spring and went all the way through till September 16th. And so they have been, and they gathered everything from just click on a yes, no, or strongly agree, strongly disagree, and all things in between, to there were parts where you could actually write your comments. And I believe they got over 2,000 surveys were completed. Hundreds and hundreds of comments that they're trying to work through.
15,000 written comments.
And just on Friday, we were trying to distill those down into bullet points that we could then start to draft a vision around. So, and once the vision is completed and the Planning Commission and the County Council buys into that vision, then the planning staff will have to go back and start drafting a comprehensive plan based on what that vision looks like. And this was all due to your vision in starting this as a community outreach to get the community's buy-in to the comprehensive planning process, which is difficult for many people to understand.
Well, Livable Frederick has been a new way to approach the county comprehensive plan, and it's really very different in that we're developing a community vision first and then looking to develop a plan to get to that vision. We've had 110 volunteers engaged in creating that vision, which is a lot of people to keep moving in the same direction.
Herding cats.
And so in the next few weeks, we're taking that vision document out for public feedback. And we also have staff at the same time drafting some of the background documents for the draft plan. But I think what's going to be really cool is that we have the capability now to run scenarios. So they're going to do different growth scenarios. They'll be able to do transportation modeling from that. And it will really give us some output from what some of our choices might mean and help us to really pick scenarios that we think will take us to our vision.
That's exciting. I like the fact that you've really done a great job, and staff has done a great job of reaching out to get the public to take part in the survey, but also to keep them involved in the process as it moves along. If you have public buy-in, they're more likely to embrace the plan when it comes forward.
Yes, I think that's true. Now, I am out and about in the community a lot, as I'm sure you are, and I hear from people all the time. And generally, I hear from people who say, they think charter government's working very well. They're very pleased with the partnership that exists between the majority of the county council and the county executive side. They appreciate that we're functional, that we're getting the budget done, that we're passing stronger ethics laws, we're passing legislation on lots of areas. I mean, we have lots of bills in front of the council right now. And so how do you think it's going? How do you think the council relationships and the relationship between the council and the administration are going?
I think it's progressing. I mean, it has not been a smooth road, but I don't think any of us expected it to be. We have 7 very strong, distinct personalities on the council, and sometimes it's challenging to get them all moving in the same direction. We are having more votes that are 7-0 votes, not so many split down the middle, but 7-0 votes, which is encouraging.
So one of the things that's a little bit different is constituent service.
Yes.
Do you want to really speak to constituent service and just the flow of information?
Well, we're trying to speed up that process. It was a little convoluted initially, but I think people are starting to understand now that there's a reason we have the process in place that we have. It allows our chief of staff to keep tabs on all the constituent services and the requests that are coming through. If we have a member A who has a constituent question and member C comes in with the same constituent question, those can be fed into the same stream and the answer comes back more quickly, as opposed to each member asking their own question, and it gets it's time consuming for staff and it's time consuming for the constituents, and they don't get the answer back as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we want to make sure that constituents get answers to their questions or they get the service that they need. And in most cases, we do get back to constituents same day or in a short period of time, depending on the issue. And many people will contact all of us with a question.
Right.
And so we do have to have kind of a coordinated methodology to get back to people. But I think we do that pretty well. I think what the things that take a long time are really questions coming from the council members where we don't always know where they're going and what information they're really asking for. So that's where we seem to spend a little bit more time.
We do bog down a little bit.
So anything that's coming up that you want to talk about in terms of legislation or information about meetings?
I know that there is legislation that people are looking at dealing with, safety with animals in their districts, and there are people looking at legislation on solar. We're trying to get our heads wrapped around the whole solar issue and move legislation through on that, because I know that that's one of those things. Our moratorium is going to run out soon, and we have to move something on that. So, there's lots of things in the works, and I know that I'm not apprised of everything that the council members are working on, but I know that they're busy and they are asking a lot of questions. So let's hope that bodes well as far as their legislative efforts go.
All right. Well, thank you for all you do. I appreciate the great partnership that we have with you and your leadership on the County Council. I hope you learned a little bit more about our Council Vice President, MC Keegan-Ayer. If you want to know more about what's happening with the council, there's a lot of information available on the county website. We always are interested in hearing from you, so let us know what's happening in your community. Thank you for joining us.